You're listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with an El Corazon C.
Yes.
That might be my favourite one I've had for a while, to be honest.
Well, I've went the simple route. I'm Chris with a Kathleen Turner K.
Oh, you sexy bastard.
It's got to be done.
This week, it's the double bill of Romancing the Stone and its sequel, Jewel of the Nile. A double bill of Mickey Douglas and Kathy Turner.
Mediocre movie double bill.
Well, come on.
Just going to put it out there right away. No,
What, even
kidding.
Romancing the Stone?
Yeah, I'm going to throw that in there, folks.
Oh, God, here we go.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
Yeah. He doesn't like Michael Douglas's shoes he had in one scene.
His fucking hair noise the shit out of us.
So yeah, double bill starting our month of. It's not really a slack theme. It's just like movies that came in the wake of Indiana Jones, whether they're like slightly inspired or the same or a rip-off.
Yeah.
it's a wide
I
spectrum.
think it's really fascinating because, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a while because it was just such a thing. Like, obviously, Saturday sort of matinee type stuff was a thing, and it went away, and Lucas brought it back with Raiders of the Lost Ark, I guess. And then after that, Hollywood just went nuts for a bit, but I don't feel ever quite managed to replicate what Raiders of the Lost Ark was.
Well, no, because I think the thing is really when you look at there is some mainstream ones that you can tell were probably inspired in some way, like Romancing the Stone, for example, they were big hits. But I think a lot of them are on the B tier level or overseas. Like a lot of the Italians did rip-offs of the Italian movies are rip-offs of Indiana Jones and stuff like that. So I think that's why really there's a lot of them, but I just don't think a lot of people know about them because it wasn't a massive fad Star Wars where everyone started doing sci-fi.
No, it just kind of crept out, didn't it, over a period of time. Yeah. And then obviously the subsequent sort of Raiders movies, the Indiana Jones movies, which again in some ways arguably never quite recaptured what the first movie was.
No, not even close.
I know some people really like certain movies and some hate certain movies from the franchise. I'm kind of, I don't know. I like Raiders the most, and then the rest of them are all kind of on one level for me until you get to Crystal Skull, I guess. It's one of them. It's a funny franchise. I think I like the idea of it more than I actually like it.
Out of the first three, Raiders is my least favourite.
Oh, really? Yeah. You're always a Temple of Doom guy, though, right? So,
I like Temple of Doom, and I probably like Crusade more than Raiders.
And that's why I would never take away from people. I think it's an interesting sort of three sets of movies. It's kind of like the Die Hard franchise, where it's people will always say that there's certain movies are better or worse. But I think really when you look at them, it's there's a movie for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can take whichever one you like and it doesn't hurt.
The Die Hard franchise is a perfect comparison because you've got the first three that most people like, and then you've got, and even this with Die Hard 2, that's the least popular one of the first three. The same with Temple of Doom. But then 4 and 5, people like to pretend don't exist.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. They just went off a cliff, basically.
Yeah, now and then I'm always reminded, what was that one in Russia? There was another one. The Die Hard, was it Good Day to Die Hard or something?
Shit like that, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, it's funny that those last films are really bad. And I've still not finished the last Indiana Jones movie.
No, me either. It's been fucking months now since I won on Disney Plus, and I just can't be arsed.
It's just that formula done to death where it's our hero's back, but his life's shit.
Well, to be fair,
I want to say that.
We'll get to it with Jewel of the Nile, but they got there first.
Yeah, true. It's basically the what happens after they all live happy ever after.
Yeah,
and it's nobody wants to see that. Why does Hollywood continue to try to do that?
Yeah, it's the only way to do a sequel to Happy Ever After. Really, you go, well, we can't just have them fucking be happy for 2 hours.
I guess it would be a boring movie. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe the kids go on an adventure, something like that.
Yeah, well, that was the plan. Yeah. I will get to the sequels that never happened a bit later as well. So let's get cracking then with Romancing the Fucking Stone.
Champion Cinema.
So Romancing the Stone was released in 1984, runs for 1 hour and 46 minutes, directed by Robert Zemeckis, stars Michael Douglas as Jack T. Colton, Kathleen Turner as Joan Wilder, Danny DeVito as Ralph, Mary Ellen Trainor as Elaine, Zach Norman as Ira, Holland Taylor as Gloria, Alfonso Arau as Juan, and Manuel Ojeda as Zolo. But what's it all about?
Well, Joan Wilder, a romance novelist whose life takes a dramatic twist when her sister, the bird from Lethal Weapon, is kidnapped in Colombia. To save her, Joan must deliver a mysterious treasure map to her captors. Along the way, she meets an adventurous love interest, Jack Colton, who's a fortune seeker type, Harrison Fordy scoundrel type guy. They go on a dangerous journey together, evading a ruthless colonel, an eccentric criminal, and all sorts of shenanigans.
It's plenty of shenanigans. So I guess one thing that is surprising that I don't think I knew, the writer, Diane Thomas, she wrote this in 1978. So it's pre-Raiders it was written. But I guess, probably got made off the back of that film of Raiders and Temple of Doom being a big success, which is...
People shopping around for a script like that.
Because it apparently been with Michael Douglas since like 1979. He tried to get it made a couple of times and it wasn't until, of course, 1983, 1984 that it got made. Yeah,
I saw that actually. And it's interesting. I was going to mention that at some point, so it fits in now. Some of the I only had a brief glance over some of the IMDb trivia, but it's just always nonsense. Like the nonsense trivia where it's all like fucking Hulk Hogan and like Arnold Schwarzenegger turned down the roles.
That's why I never check IMDb.
Just like fuck off, did they? Like I always had heard it was like always going to be Michael Douglas doing this role because it was pretty much his film.
It was his project.
But the trivia like repeatedly says like Kurt Russell was going to be and Clint Eastwood was going to be him. It's just like, fuck off, another word.
That's probably just the Kurt Russell thing. It'd just be someone guessing because like Robert Zemeckis made like used cars before this with Kurt Russell. And it's like, but it wasn't like Robert Zemeckis was brought on board, you know what I mean? It wasn't his project.
Probably just read the script basically and that bullshit trivia is like
probably.
Around.
Yeah. But Diane Thomas, she was after the success of this, she was hired by Spielberg. And she wrote a script for an Indy 3 that never got made. And then sadly passed away in a car accident in 1985.
Just before, she died quite young, didn't she?
Yeah, just before Jewel of the Nile came out.
Yeah.
And Romancing the Stones that only produced the screenplay. Just crazy. What a sad story then.
Live fast, die hard, I guess is the Hollywood way sometimes for some people.
Yeah, Jesus. But I watched this film a fuckload. Sorry about the language. A fucking fuckload when I was a kid.
Yeah, same with me, really. I think it was an easy movie to consume as a kid in the 80s, really. This and Goonies sort of stuff.
Yeah, but once you've seen Goonies and like Indiana Jones, you just want to get any sort of adventure movie you can, really.
Yeah.
And I just remember this being on TV a lot when I was a kid as well.
Yeah, same. Like not Jewel of the Nile as much.
No, but definitely this.
Yeah, because like it's one of them films as well for me where I don't think I could like necessarily describe what the movie's about. Well, I could, but I couldn't describe the scenes. Okay, but once I start watching it, I'm like, fuck me. I remember everything about this film.
It was like I'd watched it. I probably hadn't seen it for about 15 years until I watched it for the first time on DVD about 10 years ago. And I was like, what the fuck? I felt like I just watched this 10 minutes ago.
So weird. I guess that's probably in some way a compliment to like Robert Zemeckis and Dean Cundey as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I joked before that the like mediocre movies, like whatever you think of this movie, like God, the film looks good.
They both look good, really. The second one shot by like Jan de Bont, who's great as well. So I mean, it's not. I prefer the style of this movie, but like they're both like epic, great looking movies.
Yeah, like well put together in terms of visuals and stuff, and filming on location and things. And well, sort of. I think this one was filmed in Mexico, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Colombia, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too dangerous to film in Colombia, basically. I think is like the trivia, like they were going through a revolution or something.
Yeah,
probably.
I think so. Yeah, probably. I think I want to start with Zolo. I don't know if you'd agree. You can tell us. I think he's a bit of an underdog when it comes to villains. I think you'd emulate in your villainous plans for world domination.
Yeah,
he's very much a Christopher K villain. He doesn't fuck about.
I like that he gets his hands dirty. He's got his army, but he's willing to go undercover and get in there.
He's willing to go to New York and just stab a janitor.
That's what I mean. He does the grunt work as well. He's a bit of a delegator. He'll get his guys to do shit, but then when the job needs doing, he'll just get down and dirty himself.
And that bit the way it just insinuates that he murders some old woman who's shucking corn, minding her own business. I was like, that's really dark, that bit. He just drags her off and that's the last you see of her.
just can't have any witnesses.
Yeah.
It's the villain code, basically.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he is good. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he jumps in Danny DeVito's car and he tries to keep hiding his face.
Yeah.
And he's just going, America, spit on him. And in the subtitles, he just says, you must be French.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I checked. I was like, what did he actually say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. No, he's a good villain, though.
He is a good villain, yeah. He's kind of a quiet villain, but he's got a really menacing look and a great 80s mustache, which we can't not mention.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, little pencil sort of mustache thing. It's one of them where, though, like my brain, when I think of the villain, I'm like, oh, he's like some sort of guy who lives in a castle and he's got crocodiles. And he's got a little tash, but he also wears robes and he has like a big thing at the end where he's like on a concert stage. Like my brain absolutely merges the two movies. Everything about this movie and the sequel, it just merges them all together. If I haven't watched the movie recently. Yeah. I'm like, he's feeding his victims to crocodiles, I think. Like, no, that pretty much doesn't happen in the movie.
You just watch him run to the store going, how is it going to be camels in this film in the jungle?
Yeah, exactly. Because for whatever reason, although I do immediately remember it when I'm watching it, like if I'm like detached from that and I'm trying to remember what the movie's about, that's what my brain does basically.
Well, that's what when you said the other night that like you kept thinking like, look at them snappers was from Jewel of the Nile, and we were both saying Jewel of the Nile's a bit shit. I'm like, shit, does he think Romancing the Stone's a bit shit? And he can't remember.
They're both kind of generically shit.
But the cast, I mean, it's a good cast. The chemistry between Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner is really good.
Yeah.
It's no surprise they did a sequel and then a little bit later War of the Roses and stuff. And we were talking about what's Michael Douglas been up to. He was in that Kaminsky Method show on Netflix. Okay. And Kathleen Turner was in it as his ex-wife. So they managed to work together again, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
It's it's cool. Danny DeVito was kind of like at his height, I guess, like or just getting to his height, I suppose, in these movies. So. The only thing I will say about the two movies is I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. Like they didn't give Danny DeVito enough to do.
Well, I think they tried to. They've probably, seen the reaction people got from him in the first movie and tried to give him more to do in the second one because he definitely has more flat-out comedy scenes in the second one.
Like repeatedly. But in the first one, he's kind of there, and I don't know. They never feel like they never quite figure out what they're going to do with him throughout the movie, and then like him and the brother and stuff. I don't feel there's a decent enough payoff there.
No,
necessarily.
Yeah, like really.
Oh, cousin. Sorry, his cousin.
Yeah, his cousin. Yeah, like really though in the second one, he should be fucking going hunting his fucking cousin. His fault. It's his fault he went to prison, not Michael Douglas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is a bit strange that you don't really get that payoff or anything, apart from, I guess it's insinuated that he gets stopped, his cousin, at the end of the movie, kind of.
Yeah,
but you don't see it happening.
Yeah, probably died in prison or something. I don't know. I think I always forget about it until I watch the movie again. But I think one of my highlights of the movie is to do with Ira, the cousin. Not the snapper's line. It's the bit when like he's on the phone and he goes, "She's here," and it just cuts to him going, "She's there."
Yeah,
it always makes us laugh.
Totally random.
Yeah, but fucking look at those snappers. Yeah,
yeah, look at those snappers.
Yeah,
he says it like a comedic amount.
I like it at the end, even when they're at like gunpoint, they're about to be killed. And he goes, "Look at them snappers."
Just like his catchphrase. They were trying to sell that T-shirt basically the entire.
I would buy a T-shirt with "Look at them snappers."
It's just his face with a drink.
Yeah. A little crocodile.
You get some girl slapping you, like misinterpreting the meaning of the T-shirt. Yeah, no, it's from a movie.
Must say though, like we said about before, like Kathleen Turner, one of my first big crushes as a young man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's one of them, wasn't it, as a kid? I think it's all the leg action you get in this movie.
There's a lot of leg action.
The torn skirt in the jungle and stuff, which is obviously done very deliberately, but it's it pushes the right buttons as a young kid.
It made us realise, I think Robert Zemeckis is responsible for a lot of my childhood crushes. Yeah. There's Kathleen Turner, Leah Thompson in Back to the Future, and Elizabeth Shue, but it's mainly for the Karate Kid, but she was in Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Yeah,
so
true.
Kind of counts.
Yeah. There you go.
And of course, I still have a big crush on Michael Douglas, so that's not going to go away.
Oh, yeah, you can't deny his manliness. That the first time you see him in this movie, it's a great intro to the Douglas character, how he's just like you know, it kind of like mimics a book, really.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you don't see his face, and he's got the same silhouette as the Jesse character from her novels and stuff. Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, it's nice, and you know the fact that he like barely reacts when he gets shot at and stuff.
Yeah, and then just whoops out a shotgun and goes mental.
Yeah, it's a good character. I think that the pair of them pay off well. You know, she's like the fish out of water, totally like useless. They don't quite go as far as sometimes. You know, in Indiana Jones, sometimes when the women, that's probably one of the things I disliked about Temple of Doom. Sometimes is that.
Oh, and no one likes her in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, it's just like it's just too much. They've gone a little bit over the line with like useless female sort of idea. And it's like I don't know about this. Like,
on one hand, you could look at that in Temple of Doom as like, well, it's a throwback to a very womanly woman who needs a man to save her. It's kind of a piss take, but it goes to the point where it's too far away. Like, it doesn't feel like a piss take anymore. It just feels annoying.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel that this movie kind of does that. Yes, she's useless because she's a city slicker and a writer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not like useless because she's a woman.
No.
They don't do that. And I feel like she can kind of hold her own in her own way. So it's it's a good pairing that they make.
Yeah, like I like all essentially the film is like she goes on basically one of her books adventures. She goes on one of her stories basically, and then turns it into a book at the end. I love that callback where she tries to throw the knife like a character does at the start when she kills Jason, basically.
It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah, Jason as well.
But that's the thing as well that pissed us off with Jewel of the Nile. Like they almost turn her a little bit into just I've fallen over because I've got heels on type of woman. Like at the end of this movie, she's like had a fucking fight with a guy with a knife. Like and she kicked his face in basically, and then she fucking stumbles on a train for no reason at the end of Jewel. And I was like, come on.
Classic sequel. I mean, jumping ahead a little bit, but like classic sequel problem where they want to just do over what's already been done, and what you end up is the character gets like a hard reset. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's apparently, I've not seen it, but apparently it's what like the new Joker film suffers from. That like at the start of the film, like the Joker character Arthur, he's just like back to square one. Basically, he's like how you see him at the start of the movie, and it's like because that's what sequels are trying to do. Yep, just redoing what shit ones are. They're redoing they're retreading what the first film did.
Because there's no story for a sequel. Yeah, so you've just got to go back to the start basically. And do it again.
So it is a bit grim, that stuff. Like just trying to think what else.
What don't you like about it?
I know we're plowing through. We're on the sequel. We're plowing through that much. No, I was mainly only kidding. Really, I think the sequel is definitely the one that I disliked. I think the first film's quite strong. I do think like if I watched it now, I probably wouldn't have been so enamored. I think it's definitely a film that like you would enjoy more as a kid growing up. Like I can probably take my nostalgia glasses off a bit and go, there's not much to this movie really.
No, but that's fine.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. Not everything has to be a life changer. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just a fun movie. But of course, like nostalgia does play a part, obviously. But I have seen some reviews. If you look on Letterboxd, people have seen it for the first time, like enjoy it for what it is. Like in their 20s and stuff. I think it just depends. Depends what you like, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
But I think it's one of those films though that has a bit. It's kind of probably why it was one of those films that was on a lot of Saturday evenings back in the day, because it's kind of like everyone. It's something for everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a bit of action. There's a bit of suspense. There's romance. There's comedy. There's a bit of everything.
It's definitely a safe movie.
Very much so. Yeah.
I think wasn't it like I did say like. Didn't the studio like not have any?
No, it was a big surprise hit.
Yeah, like Robert Zemeckis was pretty much like fired or something off the production, or did he leave right at the very end? Because basically they were just like, ugh, nah, this isn't going to work. And
no, I think what happened was I think he was the original director of Cocoon, and he got fired off Cocoon.
No, that's what I'm thinking of.
Because they were like, oh, this is going to be shit. Like after test screenings and stuff, but it ended up making like almost $100 million off like $10 million budget or something. It was quite a small budget, and then on the strength of this, he got the chance to do Back to the Future. So.
Yeah, which was kind of cool. Like alternate universe where like he ended up doing Cocoon and somebody else made a shit.
Ron Howard made Back to the Future.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. With the original guy, like they never got Eric Stoltz. Yeah, Eric Stoltz. Yeah.
I'm still that footage better come out someday. I know he shot like fucking 90% of the movie. They could easily probably cobble together a weird director's cut with Eric Stoltz.
The Eric Stoltz cut.
Yeah, get it out there, man. A few things. When they just have a fire in a crashed plane and use like weed as like kindling. Like, you'd have a fucking mad whitey after that. I don't care how old the weed is.
I know. Firstly, you barely be able to see or breathe because it's like an enclosed space and it's burned.
And also, they're burning the plastic it's wrapped in. So there's possible,
I don't think I got the significance of the scene when I was a kid, of course.
Yeah, me either.
When he's like, I'm going to throw on another key or something. I'm like,
In the way he's all cold in his breath and he's like, "That's a good campfire."
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I quite understood it. I'm like, that man really loves his campfires.
Yeah. And also, between them, they've necked nearly a full bottle of, I think it's tequila, is it? Or whiskey?
Yeah.
So they're monged and fucking, I shouldn't say monged, I can't say that anymore.
They are rat-arsed.
They are rat-arsed drunk and high as a kite. They would not be waking up. No. Zola would have found them in 3 days still asleep, probably.
Just fucking skeletons. He would have found them middle of the jungle, dehydrated as fucking hungover.
Yeah.
It's just not a good formula.
Some fucking wild animals come in, start eating them and stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of which, nice segue. The whole snake thing. What movie started the whole snake thing, I wonder? I'll have to look this up.
What do you mean, the snake approaching a woman? And
and then the hero grabbing it or something? I just feel like that's in every fucking movie.
It is a thing. I was thinking that as well. I'm like, Indiana Jones does it in Temple of Doom, but he's shit scared of snakes.
Yeah. I
don't know.
It's going, but I wonder if it's a Tarzan thing, maybe.
Maybe, probably.
Was there a TV show of Tarzan? Vaguely, or was it a movie?
Well,
I'm not a big Tarzan guy.
I think there was the serials, there was Flash Gordon and stuff, and I think there was a few movies in the 60s.
Yeah, it's maybe something. I could believe it's something like that.
It wouldn't surprise us if that's where it started. Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't look into it. I wonder if that's a real snake he just chopped it off. It looks like.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, because I noticed there's a fucking stunt chicken that almost gets destroyed at one point.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I always notice that and go every time. Yeah. And it just gets out of it just in time.
Yeah, I think
stunt chicken.
Fucking getting crushed by Pepe the truck.
He's got a fucking union card and stuff. Does all the big chicken stunts.
Maybe. You don't know. I think there's maybe some of this in the sequel as well. I'm sure I saw some horse tripping in the sequel.
Oh, there's almost
Yeah. Where I was like, oh no, that's grim.
I think because I was going to talk about how it's the second one reminds us a bit of Rambo 3 in parts, even with one of the same actors and stuff. And I think still to this day, I think one of the horse trips is cut from Rambo 3. It was that dodgy.
I could believe it. Yeah, that's fucking grim. Come on, don't hurt animals for the sake.
No,
of the movie.
Fuck's sake, Jesus Christ. Yeah. But I do like that scene where they go to the village and meet Juan, who just happens to be a massive fan of John Wilder. I thought that was
funny. That's cool.
I wish he was in it more though, because I do like his character. He kind of comes and goes, but he's just there he's a plot device to get them a car. Basically.
Yeah, his character does kind of disappear after he served the purpose, which is interesting. Yeah.
It's very much one of those Huggy Bear moments where they're like, oh, how do we move the plot along? I don't know. They go to this guy's house. He's a big fan. And then he gives them a car.
Yeah. That's how they, like you said, they just literally get from A to B, basically.
Yeah. I forgot as well. I was like, what else was he in? And he's the bad guy in Three Amigos.
Is he? Right.
Yeah. And apparently he's also in Zemeckis' first movie, Used Cars, which I've never seen, and I don't know why. Because I like Robert Zemeckis and Kurt Russell's in it, and it's apparently really funny. But I've just never seen it.
No. Yeah, I think I have many years ago, but I couldn't tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
All about that.
Yeah, I'll have to get around to that at some point soon. Yeah.
Quite think it's strange. It's good, but it's also strange that when you think about it, the Jack character basically does fuck all to save the John Wilder character at the end of the movie. When she was fighting off the bad guy, and he just fucks about. It's almost like he's doing the thing where he's trying to save the crocodile. He's trying to not save the crocodile. He's trying to save the gem. And he has to give it up in order to save the girl. I kind of like that. But then he just fumbles a gun, climbs up a wall. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it. In some ways, it's kind of cool that it's kind of comedy.
It's kind of turning the convention on its head.
But it is also kind of strange. I don't know. I just feel like he could have maybe done something a smidge more than just totally be shit at the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, I guess it's to keep the tension up, because like we're saying, the audience is like, how's she going to beat him? She's a lass.
Yeah.
And then she does.
And then obviously the crocodile is the real hero, I guess, of the movie.
It is.
When you think about it.
Yeah, he gets a proper fucking Captain Hook bit of go there with these that's a bit that I think was obviously always censored on TV, and when it bites his hand off. And when I was seeing it on TV, it was like, Jesus, it's quite gory.
Yeah, it's like this bloodied stump.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
I'm just thinking it now, I'm saying crocodile. Is it a crocodile or is it an alligator? Which one's an alligator again? Crocodiles live in rivers and alligators
live in swamps.
Swamps.
It's a crocodile.
Yeah, it's a crocodile. Had to think that through there. And yeah, poor crocodile gets it at the end of the movie, technically. The whole crocodile boots and stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit grim.
Fucking this movie and animal cruelty. Jesus Christ. They probably really killed that crocodile just for the fuck of it.
See, the boots are actually made out of that crocodile. Apparently, like, one of the crocodiles escaped on set. Like, and the wrangler lost it.
Like, nobody panic, but
fucking little Jimbo's gone. Which one's that? The massive one.
It's another thing about movies. I feel like movies in the 80s, there was a lot of crocodiles flying around in movies back then.
And alligators.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones, obviously. But I feel like maybe it's a Bond movie had like crocodile or alligator in it. And then obviously, Crocodile Dundee. But that's obvious. That one. Got to have crocodiles in that one. Fair play to them. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there was a crocodile to be had in a lot of movies in the 80s.
Definitely was. And of course, you got movies like Alligator.
Yeah.
Just animals attack. People love a scary animal.
Don't see them as much these days.
You don't
Not
really,
as popular as what they once were.
No, Steve Irwin brought them back for a bit.
He did. True.
It's been a while since I've seen an alligator or a crocodile in a movie.
To wrap up the movie, though.
Yes.
Firstly, two things. Kathleen Turner sits on a glass table at the end. It's very upsetting. I didn't like that. I was worried. I'm at that age now where I worry about people's safety, and her sitting on the glass table, I was like, get off that, love.
I thought you were thinking about something else with people sitting on glass tables, and I was like, what?
That's just get your mind out of the gutter. You.
I'm sorry, I know how your mind works.
I was thinking pure safety.
Okay.
But then also, I love the absolute burn from Michael Douglas at the end when he says to Kathleen Turner, I even read one of your books.
Yeah.
He lowered himself to fucking read one of her shitty novels.
That proves I like you.
I'm not sure it's intended to be like that, like it's taken that way, but that's how I took it. Like, fucking hell, it's proper throwing shade at her books.
It's probably not supposed to be taken, but it could easily be taken that way. Then they say going, what do you mean even? And then they just start arguing as the board goes down the road and the credits.
Pretty much, yeah. That's how it should have ended.
I mean, that's how the fucking second one starts. So.
Basically, yeah.
Imagine they started arguing before they even got to the dock.
Yeah, pretty much.
I tell you what moment I really do like. For one, it's funny and it's a nice, almost classic Hollywood romance bit when they're dancing. And Danny DeVito's getting battered by that woman. Yeah. And then
under the table.
And then it's almost like Sylvester uses the same cue he does in Back to the Future, where the music, the sound drops out, the music swells, the kiss, and then fireworks go off. I'm like, oh, that's classic.
I'm pleased you mentioned Sylvester, actually, because that is one thing. That is a standout thing about the movie. Like, you just can't go wrong, can you? With his score work. Like early on in the movie, you get kind of Predator vibes, you get kind of
Back to the Future vibes.
Yeah, exactly. There's he's
got a style.
Yeah, you can hear his voice in the movie. Yeah, and it always adds a shit ton. I mean, sometimes some of his scores are a bit cut and paste. To be brutal, but I always feel like that they definitely add something to the movie at least.
Oh yeah, and this has got a nice mix because you've got his typical orchestral stuff, grand epic string. Then you've got some synth drums because it's 1984 and stuff like that. So there's a lot of funky stuff in there as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, he said a lot of good things, and I mentioned Dean Cundey before, but I still maintain he's one of the greatest DPs of all time.
He is. He is.
Don't get us wrong, John Carpenter movies are amazing because of John Carpenter, but would they be being as good if Dean Cundey wasn't there for a few of them?
There is always that.
You know what I mean? Is the John Carpenter look the John Carpenter look, or is it the Dean Cundey look? I sometimes wonder.
Yeah, I would say it's part of it, but I don't know. Because this doesn't look like a John Carpenter movie. Neither does Back to the Future. So I think it's them two together.
Yeah, that kind of brings it out. I mean? Yeah. But there's just times during the campfire and the airplane and stuff, and it's just it's just so nicely, the colours and stuff, and that's so nicely done.
Yeah, I think Dean Cundey still follows me on Instagram, so there's a bit of a badge of honour for the show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But at that time, Ron Perlman followed me on Twitter and then unfollowed me.
Immediately.
Fuck you, Ron.
I was like, oh my God, wrong, Chris Armstrong.
As for the merchandise, I mean, it's your bog standard, 20th Century Fox big studio Blu-ray. But you got 20 minutes of deleted scenes, a handful of featurettes, and there's no 4K. I think this deserves a fancy 4K. I would like a commentary with like from recorded now with like Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Imagine, yeah.
Get them all together and watch the movie for the first time in a while.
Yeah, that would be pretty mad. Yeah. I'll be up for that. Yeah, it's a film that I think would clean up well because it's even on like Disney, like you can see it's not had much love the print of the movie.
No, that's what I mean. It needs like a nice, fresh new transfer 4K release and stuff, and we'll get it eventually. It's a big movie. It's a big favourite, so it'll come at some point in the next year or two.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't this year. It's the 40th anniversary, so
crazy that, isn't it?
Yeah.
40 years. God.
Fucking mental. So artwork and stuff, which, by the way, we'll always talk about artwork. Forget to say, you can actually see the art we talk about on Instagram. I post it every week at Champion Cinema Pod on Instagram. So yeah,
missing an obvious plug for the.
I've been doing it for like fucking half a year.
Dumbasses. Because I suppose should we talk about the both? So I couldn't find much art for it, sadly. But I think the art that like has turned up is pretty nice. Like the Nick Charge print, firstly,
which is great. I love it.
Yeah, I like the idea. I always like concepts of art that like fits into the movie world almost. So basically this piece of art done by Nick Charge is like it's riffing off like one of those like scratty love novel paperbacks that you would get that's been well read, and it's got creased corners and stuff. So it's doing that. It takes like the pose is from one of the posters. It's from like a promo shot from the film, and it was used. I've seen it used on one of the posters as well. Yeah. So it's just the two main characters like gazing into each other's eyes lustfully, making it look like it's a Joan Wilder novel, which is really clever. But I was reading as well when they did the novelizations for this and Jewel of the Nile, they were credited to Joan Wilder, which I think is funny. That's cool. Yeah, that's what I mean. When stuff's like kind of in university a bit and kind of uses that idea, it's always cool. It's a very nice print. That, And aside from that, though, the only other one that I found was one by Barrett Chapman, which is kind of like it's a cool moment in the movie when like I feel Douglas is like at his most badass. The backpack, the machete strapped to his side, and also the burgundy waistcoat, which is very similar to Marty's little puffucker waistcoat. Yeah, there's a few things. It almost as well gives us vibes of like the Warriors, almost as well. That. In that picture, especially, just looking at him, he looks like he's in the fucking Warriors. Yeah, little waistcoat and stuff. That's what we should just get 2 red burgundy waistcoats and we'll just dust about in them. We'll form a new gang, the Champions. Yeah, totally. Sounds like an idea to me. Yeah. Interesting use of the birds and stuff, though, on the poster, I guess. Yeah, because that's what he's there to collect. It's like all these birds he was going to sell. Yeah. Quickly fades away from the plot. I almost feel like it would have been interesting if like they brought that back almost in the movie. Maybe they should have done like an Ace Ventura. Where he's like always trying to find some rare bird. Yeah. Because that's the plot of Ace Ventura, right? Is it like there's a parrot or something that's a mascot? I think so. Or some shit from memory. Yeah. He's trying to... No, in the first one, it's a dolphin. Yeah, but... Or a whale. I can't remember. I think it's a dolphin. But it's either the first one or the sequel where it's almost like there's a submission where he's also trying to save a bird or something. Probably the second one. I haven't seen the second one that many times. That art is nice. It almost looks like it could be like a comic book cover or something. Yeah, it does. Like a Dark Horse sort of comic of the movie. Yeah, and he's kind of done the same, like his variation on that same pose at the bottom, and like the sort of in the shape of the stone and stuff, which is nice. Yeah, they've not managed to capture Kathleen Turner's likeness in either pictures, which is interesting. I think Douglas is nailed, but I don't know. Me personally, I don't see Turner. Yeah, I mean, you can tell who it is because you've seen the movie, but if you didn't know, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, if you saw the picture on its own, you'd probably be like, it's that bird that plays Wonder Woman. A little bit. Should we have a look at original posters? Yeah, I was going to mention the original poster because I always just assumed it was Drew Struzan. It has that look.
because he did all the fucking posters back then. It's kind of similar to his style, but it's a guy called John Soley. And if you look at what he did the Star Crash poster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the Smoking the Bandit poster, Piranha. He did loads of good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the Shaft movies back in the day.
Just unsung heroes, basically, of the whole era of like these massive iconic posters that literally were made to sell you the movie. Like that was, but nowadays posters, like, that's not the purpose at all, sadly. It's gone those days. But back then it was like a movie could be a success if the poster was good enough.
Yeah, make or break a movie sometimes, yeah.
It's a nice poster though. Because I was going to mention that. I think one of them where it's like, how do you beat just that Romance in the Stone poster? I guess it's like it kind of does what you need.
Most of them are just a variation on that, except there's like the British quad that's just that with a black thing with the thing, and there's another British quad that's kind of got a montage around the outside with Danny DeVito and Zolo and stuff like that, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And there's that, which country is it? The French one. Have you seen that? It's like, it's the same poster, but different. It's like someone's redid it. It's like a different Kathleen Turner on the poster.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's interesting.
It's like someone just redrew it, but did it a slightly different way.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. I like the, what country is that in the bottom right? Where it's just fucking, you're being held up by a young Douglas.
Like I said last week, it's Poland. The Polish posters are fucking mental. There's another one as well. I'll send it to you over Skype. There's like another one. It's like by the same artist.
What gun has he got? It seems to have 8 chambers at least.
Yeah.
So
it's a special gun.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it look like a fucking horror movie, doesn't it?
It's mental.
Yeah. Like half skull, half the stone with a fucking big laser going through its eye. It's like, what is that meant to tell you about the movie?
It's a dark-ass country, I guess, Poland.
It must have been great going to cinema in Poland, but you just didn't know what the fuck you were going to get based off the poster.
Yeah, didn't know what you're walking into.
Is this a horror movie or a light comedy? We'll soon see.
Yeah, it's the same with Romania as well. I guess Romania's a bit like, what the fuck is Romania?
That looks like an Italian giallo movie, like a fucking murder mystery. Like, what is that?
It's so, just for people listening, it's like Kathleen Turner's black and white face.
Looking shocked and scared.
And behind her, there's what looks to be like
a maze?
Yeah, I was going to say like a labyrinth, a maze, like rudimental, and there's blood spatters all over it.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Interesting. But yeah, Poland's as well, just to describe it. Young Michael Douglas with his hair wafting in the wind.
You know what I think it might be? Because he was on that cop show, Streets of San Francisco. I think they've just copied drawn a picture of his a shot from that.
Yeah.
And because why else would he have a gun?
Yeah, and it's totally like a cop detective-y type gun, like a revolver or something.
Because he's got like the longer hair and stuff. I don't know. It's very strange to market this movie like a cop action Dirty Harry movie.
I love it though. I love it when movies have like wild out there posters.
Yeah,
we need more of that.
I kept going back and looking at that Turkish car poster, just pissing myself laughing. It's like, why choose this? I don't get it.
Champion Cinema.
So, 1 year later.
Yeah, they quickly got this on track.
Fucking cranked it out. In 1985, we got the sequel, The Jewel of the Nile, with a run time the same, 1 hour 46 minutes.
That's something I want to talk about.
Why mess with the formula? According to the trivia, but how true this is, Kathleen Turner was very reluctant to come back for the sequel.
Yeah.
Only coming back after being threatened with legal action by Douglas and the studio. So it's a bit of a change-up. Director of the film this time, Lewis Teague, as you mentioned, starring Michael Douglas again as Jack T. Colton, Kathleen Turner as Joan Wilder, Danny DeVito once more as Ralph, Spiros Fokas as Omar, Avner Eisenberg as the Jewel, Paul David Magid as Tarak, and Howard J. Patterson as Barak. So, what is the sequel about?
Well, after falling in love and sailing off around the world with Jack, Joan finds herself in a slump with both her writing and her relationship. That is until she is whisked away by a charming Arabian ruler who wants her to write his life story. However, he is not who he seems. Meanwhile, Jack and Ralph team up to retrieve the Jewel of the Nile, TM. So yeah, problematic pre-production. There's a bunch of stuff happened. Like you said, Turner wasn't happy with the script. And she wanted Diane Thomas to come back and write it, but she was off doing work for Spielberg. So she almost walked off, was threatened with a $25 million lawsuit, but it seems like it's Douglas who sorted it out.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
made
mean,
sure there was a rewrite of the script, but apparently it
Yeah.
still wasn't good enough for Kathleen Turner.
And I could see why. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like we've already mentioned, that character's kind of a damsel.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like the writers didn't understand the characters at all because Douglas is meaner in this movie.
He is.
In like a shittier way.
Yeah.
Kathleen Turner, it's almost like somebody didn't watch the first one, and Joan Wilde is like almost like a reporter. She's Lois Lane in this movie. Almost.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Then when she's taking photos of the maps, and she's all like, "Wait till the Times get a hold of this," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're a fucking romance novelist."
Yeah,
Like
it's
what?
And it's just, it's one of those things where they're like, how come we get them another adventure? Why would a guy go to like a romance novelist to write his life story? That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, Why would he even get her there in the first place? Why he gets her there and then he's like, "Oh, you're not going along with my plan. I'm going to lock you in my dungeon." And it's like it's just a weird premise of a story, basically.
Yeah.
We've already mentioned it, but it's worth saying again. It's the what happens after they all live happy ever after. And it's just like fucking nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, so it's ahead of its time with the depressing sequel trope. I mean, it's mainly the first half an hour, 45 minutes is like that. Because it's been a while since I watched it, and I was like, did they just not fucking go on this adventure together at any point in the movie? But it's like the halfway point where they finally meet back up again.
Yeah. The like weird halfway point of the movie where you're like, well, that's the movie wrapping up. Oh, fuck, got another 40 minutes.
That's what I was going to say. The main problem with this film is you don't really notice it, like you said, until that point, but it's just the weird pacing. Both films are exactly the same length, but this feels at least half an hour longer.
Yeah. And it's because of the like early climax, like at the midpoint of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is like such a strange idea to do. And like I just feel like they're redoing what Raiders did with the whole airplane scene and stuff. Or, I don't know, something about it. I just don't like the airplane bit, basically.
I like it because it's it's classic 80s excess where you're like, let's just get in a fighter jet and blow the fuck out of a village. It's like it's very silly and grand and large, but yeah, it just does seem like we need something big here. I don't know, there's a fucking fighter jet there. I
just think like they're surrounded by guys with like heavy machine guns and there's a literal tank.
Yeah.
And they like can't deal with like one plane. Wouldn't they just be immediately blown away like by the tank that's there?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just maybe an anal.
But yeah, if you were saying about like the script, like not that it doesn't make sense, but character wise, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like Kathleen Turner said that her and Michael Douglas basically sat around and cobbled together the best parts of 3 different scripts to come to like some compromise over a script they were both happy with. So that's why the film probably feels like a bit all over the place.
It's never a good way to make a film, that is it?
No,
you know what I mean? So it's basically how they made those Star Wars movies.
Pretty much, yeah. They just chucked a bunch of lines into a fucking tombola.
Yeah, it's just like, if you haven't got a clear vision that you're passionate about, you just probably shouldn't make a movie out of it.
No.
Basically. Wait for the script.
Another thing as well, which is fucking mental, the production designer and production manager were killed in a crash while location scouting in Morocco before the filming, and then there was some story that set up this giant... I don't know which scene it would have been, but it was some scene that took a long time to set up, and then they realised there was no film in the camera. Just loads of shit went wrong. It made almost as much as the first one, but I guess after that they went in the hurry to come back again.
Yeah, I guess it's the movie that killed the franchise. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because it's grim. The movie. I think like the villain's kind of too similar to the previous villain. There was an opportunity to do something like different, and they just didn't take it. It's almost like in your head, it's like cut and paste bad guy, pretty much.
Yeah, I can see why you used to just merge them both together.
Yeah.
You hadn't seen them for a while. Yeah.
Despot sort of ruler of something.
Yeah.
I almost feel like were they doing like a Saddam Hussein commentary? I made note at one point. I felt like I don't know.
Maybe because
sort of,
I'm thinking just in my head, I didn't hear Saddam Hussein until like the early 90s, but obviously he was around.
Yeah.
I was like 4 when this film came out.
Yeah, so. I could believe it. I mean, he was omnipresent in like the mid to late 80s and then the early 90s and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So possibly, yeah. But I just don't really get his motives or anything. They never really explore the whole Jewel of the Nile relationship between him.
No.
It's just poorly written.
It's just a bit of a mess. Yeah. I do love, though, I love a a crappy theme song to a movie that just rams the title in there.
Yeah, it's just all like Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
the
go
movie.
searching for the Jewel of the Nile. And I was like, oh, what a banger.
Very forgettable.
I love a textbook name drop in a song. Well, you can bet that
totally.
song was written like years before, and they were like, just put Jewel of the Nile in there instead of that.
Take that line out and replace it with that.
My favourite example of that was St. Elmo's Fire. That song has fuck all to do with that movie, and then you just randomly shout St. Elmo's Fire.
They said, just got to get it in there somewhere.
Yeah. I'm sure that got it disqualified from something I remember reading once. Like, it was disqualified from maybe the Oscars for, like, best song.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you didn't write this for the movie. It's about some sports guy. And you just sang St. Elmo's Fire for no reason. Yeah, I was going to say that, like I've said before, it kind of reminds us of Rambo 3 with, like, the setting, the same actor in that movie, like Spiro's Focus. And it's like if you merge Rambo 3 and Operation Condor. It's like the lightness and adventure of Operation Condor.
Yeah, just guys bombing about on horseback and stuff.
Yeah, in the
and
desert,
the Arabs,
shit exploding. Yeah.
Well, I say Arabs, but they're like, it's another thing about this movie that's a bit confusing. They're like Turkish, Arab, Africans. I feel like there's a high potential for like blackface in this movie or brown face in this. You know, like, is there a lot of guys that are actually just Americans, but they've just put fake suntan on the faces?
Well, I mean, the guy who's playing Omar, he's Greek.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I just feel like they just didn't care and they were just banging.
Which I thought was funny because, like, Jack wants to go to Greece at the start, and he's actually Greek.
Yeah. I think, the Avner Eisenberg, like, I'd guess he's like Jewish or something. I've not looked him up, so apologies to the guy. I know he's a real life like magician or something. And I always remembered like seeing that. He's like Eisenberg the Magnificent or something.
Well, I know that all those guys that are on like the team that Danny DeVito's hanging out with, they're like a troupe of like stage performers. There's something brothers. I forgot to write it down. Sorry, lads.
But yeah, I did make note though that like probably this and the last film like a high potential for like people just browning up, and Hollywood kind of did that back then.
The 80s, wasn't it?
The guy in Short Circuit 2, basically.
Well, both of them.
Yeah, of course, yeah. He's the first, like, mind blown when you realise that as an adult that he wasn't Indian.
You see him in a different movie when you're a kid, you're like, why does he look familiar? but not quite.
So mad that they did that.
Did you notice that one bit where it looks like they've just left a weird blooper in the movie when Douglas like slides off his camel onto some guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you can see like Michael Douglas covering his face, and the guy catching him's like pissing himself off. Just kept it.
Just like whatever, I guess. Yeah. It fits with the lightheartedness.
It does. I did like Douglas and DeVito's little odd couple partnership they have for the first half of the movie. Like, I would have liked to at some point seen them make a different movie together as mismatched couples type of thing. That would have been fun. Yeah,
I think there's definitely a massive missed opportunity. I think they do more with Danny DeVito. Yeah. But they also like miss the mark more with Danny DeVito in this movie almost, and I feel like I don't know. He does the best. You know, he has some of the like funnier scenes in the movie and stuff. Like I love the bit when he gets sat on by the donkey.
That was just about to say that was the most I laughed during. There was that. It was just getting randomly sat on and the noise he makes, like, oh! And then the smash cut to him riding the donkey like on his mission of revenge.
Yeah, totally.
You see why he splats himself going through the tunnel?
It's like
that was like something that was. Shanghai Express.
Yeah, it's like Looney Tunes basically, like smashing himself into a wall.
The noise when he hits is just fucking hilarious. I don't know. Yeah,
but I feel like he did the best he could with what he had. But like, he needed more of a mission or something. He needed like something where he was more like on a mission of redemption more or something. I don't know. Something about it. It didn't sit right with his
It feels like by the end, if they'd made a third one right after, he would have been full on good guy at that point. Like he would be a good guy, but he would fuck up all the time. He'd be the bumbling, funny comedy sidekick rather than like trying to kill him every 5 minutes and stuff.
One bit that genuinely got a laugh out of me, but I think was unintentional, was when Joan Wilder first gets to like the castle or whatever, the palace, and she's setting up like with a typewriter or whatever, and she just lifts out a massive framed photo of Jack. That's just apparently been carrying around. And the music's all like romantic when she gets there. Like, I don't know, just something about it seemed extremely silly. That had this massive, it's like A4 sized, the frame photo.
Like, that would have got broken.
Like, just carrying it in a carry-on luggage, like a handbag or something.
There was one of her lines that was like a genuinely funny line, which goes by really quick when like Omar informs her that Jack's dead. And she goes, "Don't be ridiculous. Jack would never die without telling me." That was really funny.
Some kind of like dry humour going on there and stuff, yeah.
There's one thing I always think of, though, you know, when like they're with the tribe and they're watching everyone dance, having a good time, and then they go off to the hut and, you know, have a bit of a shag and stuff. And there's always moments in that movie, so like my fucking brain kicks in. I'm like, I know, I get it, heat of the moment, but they've been walking in the desert for 3 days.
A lot of grit.
They haven't brushed their teeth. I know, but it would be a bit minging.
It probably would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, let's go down to the local river first.
Yeah, let's have a dip first. Just quick dip.
That whole tribe bit, that was a tough part for me. Where they were just at it just was like, what is this movie doing? Like, where is it going? This whole bit adds nothing to the movie apart from, I guess, rekindling their love for one another. But you could just do that in a previous setting that's more on point. It's like they just wanted to do a whole bit with like cannibals almost.
They wanted scope, basically.
Yeah. But it just fucking annoyed us. It was one of them bits where I was like almost tempted to reach for the fast forward button. Just like, fucking get past this bit, man. God.
Yeah, it is about when it gets to that point where you're like, this feels like it should be finished by now.
And it surely just keeps going.
Then you're like, 45 fucking minutes. But yeah, I don't really know if there's anything else to say. It's like, I don't think it's shit.
No, it's just...
After I watched it, I was like, okay, it drags, the pacing's all messed up, but like, it's not as bad as I always think it is in my head. It's like, it's enjoyable. It's fun to hang out with those characters again. It's just a bit sloppy.
Well, I'll just shotgun some notes quickly. Skidding noises on a desert road. Stupid.
It's like that bit in fucking True Lies where the horse is running on carpet and it's like clip clop, clip
Well,
clop.
funnily enough, every time you see a horse or a camel in the movie, clip clop, even though they're running on sand.
Yep.
Come on, movie, you're better than that. The needless bit where Kathleen Turner jumps onto the train and fucks it up.
Yeah, it's
just to add tension. For
another 10 minutes.
Yeah, for a scene that doesn't need to do it. What's with the British guy? What's his character?
Yeah.
What's going on there? I assume he wasn't originally British and they just ADR'd him into somebody British as well.
No, he's a British actor.
Is he?
Because I kind of recognised him. Was like, I've seen him in like some sitcom.
It's just his voice is like a million. He's like worse than Bane in the cinematic version of fucking Dark Knight Rises.
Maybe Lewis Teague was like, British it up, come on.
It's just his voice is like way above the sound mix. It's insane. Danny DeVito delivering the line, "Pipe down, towel head."
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. It's 1985, you know.
So there's that. I nearly cringed my face off when Douglas did the la thing at the end. I was like, oh, God, that's just...
You're better than this, Douglas.
No.
You're better than this, Mickey. Come on.
And then the weird climax at the end of the movie where Jewel walks through the fire but looks confused at his own abilities. He's like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
I didn't know I could actually do it.
And then it's like, so what does this prove? What? They just didn't know what they were doing with that character, basically. And then the triumphant music at the end when Kathleen and Jack both murder a guy. When the villain gets kicked to his death, and the music's all like, hey, we've just killed a man. Dunno, it's a bit strange.
He was a bad man.
I guess 2 times actually in this movie. There's a bit when Kathleen Turner's character, she releases the pipes on the train, and all those guys like plummet to a really violent death.
Yeah,
and she's like super happy.
They either died or was like, you know, paralyzed. Something.
Yeah, but she's like loving it. She's like got this massive shit-eating grin on her face. I'm like, Jesus, it's brutal.
Yeah, well, she's just getting darker. She's enjoying the taste of blood. She did kill Zolo, technically, as well in the first movie.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. She's secretly like a bit of a sadist that likes hurting people. So yeah, there you go. Those were the rest of my notes.
Something else to mention. I mean, you know, one of the best things that came out of this film was the Billy Ocean song.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the main things that gets remembered in the UK, it was such a massive hit, wasn't it?
Absolute banger.
I don't know about the rest of the world. Probably was, but
I think it was. Yeah,
I think in the UK it was like a massive thing.
Yeah, I was reading up on the music video, which has all three of them in it as backup singers and stuff. Yeah. It was shot at the Brixton Academy. Oh. And this will make you laugh. It was banned on Top of the Pops because the actors were not part. Were not part of the musicians' union. Meaning DeVito's miming of the saxophone went against the rules. Like, fuck off!
I figured it would be some shit like that.
What a job's worth rule that is. Like, oh no fun. Can't have fun in a video.
It's like got to be one of the headaches of trying to actually make a movie, or like things like this where there's like weird like rules and unions you have to comply with and stuff.
The amount of times people have just done something like, think, oh, that'll be fun, and then found out it went against some rule and they can't do it.
Yeah, it's why, like, certain movies, once you get to a certain level of movie making, like as a director, you can no longer just go, actually, can we just do this with a camera, because you're like crossing a line by doing that, because it's like the fucking camera operators union or something, and it's like, oh my god. It's just like, it would be too stressful for me to actually try and make a studio movie. It's insane.
Pain in the ass.
All the rules that you got to worry about breaking and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, after I watched the video earlier, I went on, a little rabbit hole of like 80s tunes and stuff. And I don't want to sound like back in our day, but what the fuck happened to joy in pop music?
No.
I guess just pop music now, I guess it just represents the times, like most decades, but like Christ, there were so many just happy songs in the 80s.
Everyone's just obsessed with being like successful and sexy and cool looking.
Tell you what we need these days. We need more Billy Oceans and we need more Lionel Richie's. That's what we need.
Fucking dancing on the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like behaving like a slow train coming, some sexual innuendo. Can't remember what that means. I'm like a slow train coming.
Like when you're fucking a kid and you hear the song, you go, it's such a good song. And you get on, you're like, wait a minute. What's this about? He's talking about his penis. But as for like attempted sequels and remakes over the years, in the late 80s, around 87, 88, they were going to try and make a movie called The Crimson Eagle, which was going to be the third movie. That went nowhere. Around the mid-2000s, Douglas was going to recast the Joan Wilder character with his wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Mad.
And they were going to make a movie called Racing the Monsoon.
Good.
Which never happened. And then there was talk of a remake with possibly Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl. And then obviously that went nowhere. And then there was talk that was getting actually turned into a TV show, but there's been no word since 2011, as far as I can find.
They need to get that guy that always picks terrible movies, Jason Momoa. They get Jason Momoa in it. He'd be all like, my man, and stuff. He's got like the worst agent in the business.
And bless him, such a nice
Exactly, such a nice guy. And he's like, do you want to play Aquaman in like a new Batman Superman crossover? You think, fuck it hell, it's gonna put me on the map. This,
yeah.
But
sad enough.
Something about his choices. Yeah. Do you want to play Conan in the reboot? Fuck it hell, it's gonna put me on the map. This. Like, what the hell, Jason? Jesus.
Yeah, it never works.
If you listen to this, get a new agent, fuck's sake.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
You're better than this.
I just do a Bill Murray, just don't have an agent, just get an answer machine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But a movie I would say, like, if which is essentially a remake of this, was that Sandra Bullock movie with Channing Tatum a few years ago called The Lost City. It's essentially the exact same plot, and it's very fun.
I enjoyed that. I was surprised by it. Yeah. Who plays the villain? It's Daniel Radcliffe, isn't it?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, I was surprised by that movie. Yeah,
genuinely funny and sweet. And,
so it's proof the formula does still work.
Oh yeah,
you can't beat a good adventure romp.
But that's the type of movie I would prefer more than just remake. They could have easily bought the rights to Romance in the Stone and called that Romance in the Stone. But no, they were like, no, let's do our own thing. And it's so much more palatable.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
it is a good point, isn't it? Yeah, like if you want to do it, it's like what we've said before about like, like all the stuff. Not get too political, but like the gender swapping and the race swapping and stuff. It's like, just make your own cool ass character.
Make a fucking badass original character.
Yeah. Don't just take something.
You'll just bypass all this needless fucking drama online.
Yeah.
But of course, another movie which, as a kid, I was like, what the fuck? They made a third one, War of the Roses, which all three of them were in.
So strange, and that's why I doubt some of the trivia about I mean, it's pretty big of her. She was threatened with legal action, and then she went on to do another movie. Pretty cool of her. Maybe it was more the studio than it was Michael Douglas.
I don't think, from what I've read, it seems like it was basically a breach of contract that they were going to get her with. So it was like, if you walk off, then we're going to sue you for 25 million. Then Michael Douglas stepped in and went, "All right, calm down, everybody."
Yeah, and then that was it. So the way the movie sorry, the way the trivia like is laid out, it's like, oh, she hated the script, she refused to do it, and they like threatened her family, and so she came. Pretty much, Douglas was there with a gun against her like fucking mother or something, and you're like, fucking hell,
Douglas is fucking cold.
So it's like, how did she even get through this movie and then made another movie?
Yeah, I don't think there was bad blood between them. They're still even good mates today, which is always nice to see. I was watching an interview with them like from just last year or something. They still seem quite close. But yeah, as a kid, I saw War of the Roses in the video shop and was like, oh my God, it's Romancing the Stone 3. My mum was like, no, it's not. I was like, but look.
Very, very different movie.
Yeah, I still rented it though, even as a kid, even though it's like quite a like adult comedy drama.
You know, I don't think I've seen it all the way.
It's worth the watch.
I think I tried to watch it as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And was like backed straight out of that movie, like, no, I don't like this.
I watched it for the first time a few years ago, I think probably when like, it's on Disney Plus, I think. And probably when Disney Plus first came out, and I was like, you know what, I can barely remember that. And it's a lot more enjoyable, obviously, as an adult. It's like darkly funny as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can't beat DeVito as well. I think like more DeVito in movies.
I think DeVito directed that as well, War of the Roses.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I suppose we should, although there's no proper art, just to cap off, talk about the another nice poster for the original, the original poster for the movie.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love the poster, and I was confused because it says the artist is Robert Rodriguez, and I was like, "Well, the director?" No, it's just another guy called Robert Rodriguez. I was like, was he like 15 when he did this?
It's just like a really nice like traditional art sort of poster that you'd see in a video shop and stuff.
Yeah,
really nice.
Very nicely like composed with the arch and stuff like that, and them swinging through. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Once again, Kathleen Turner's legs.
Yeah, featuring. Yeah, that's something about her legs in both these movies. They knew what they were doing back then.
They certainly did. It's got that one with him with a gun, but that's definitely Romancing the Stone because you can see like Robert Zemeckis' name on it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
the rest are all pretty much the same.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much variety as last film. Yeah, which it makes sense. It like reflects, I guess.
Yeah,
the two,
the good art.
Yeah, and just the fact that it's kind of like on a box set. Romancing the Stone is going to have like special features, and then this is going to have like animated menus. Jewel of the Nile. It's one of them movies.
Although speaking of which, though, like the standard blue, once again, it's got a commentary with Lewis Teague. It's got it's about like 10 minutes of deleted scenes and featurettes. So it's the exact same except for a commentary. Yeah.
There you go.
Just once again, no 4K, but I'm sure when Romancing the Stone comes out, they'll stick this out in 4K as well.
Arrow will announce it and piss off all the fans.
I wouldn't be pissed off.
Arrow will be like, Arrow fans will be like, oh, when's Les Flaraux from like 1921, which is a French horror movie.
Yeah, you're thinking of Criterion.
I suppose. I just always laugh at all the like butthurt Arrow fans in the comment section whenever they announce movies like this.
I know, but the thing that always makes me laugh is it's all these like people who are like hardcore collectors, and they're always like, "Oh, why is it not this?" And someone will reply with, "It came out last month from like Scream Factory." Like they don't know. They just seem to think Arrow is the only fucking Blu-ray label on the planet.
Quite possibly.
So that's it. I guess we're done.
Yeah, that's it. Wrap it up. Yeah. I was kind of joking, like overall about the first one. The second movie, nah. I doubt I'll ever watch the second one again. To be fair, it's such a trash movie for me.
It's not. I wouldn't have watched it again so soon if I weren't doing it for the show. If I want to hang out with those two characters, I'll watch the first one.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, looking forward to the other movies that we've got coming up though.
Yeah, so next week we're going back to good old reliable canon films, hopefully reliable canon films, with the two Alan Quatermain movies starring Richard Chamberlain and Sharon Stone.
Movies that like don't have much of a footprint.
No.
In the pantheon of adventure movies, which makes us think, are they really bad?
Well, they'll be both first-time watchers for us both, so that'll be a nice experience, hopefully.
Definitely.
But I do always remember seeing at least the first one all the time in Video World, but never rented it, obviously. I was just like,
Yeah. Poor Canon. Like, please, come rent.
I'll be like, I'm sorry, Canon, I'm going to rent American Ninja 3.
Going to rent that again.
So until next week, you can find us on Instagram at Champion Cinema Pod, which is where, once again, you can see the artwork we're talking about. We have a little T-shirt shop on TeePublic. Just search for Champion Cinema. Don't forget to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yes.
Until then, folks, with Alan Quatermain, I'll see you down at the pit.
Oh, it even works. It's beautiful. See you on the
It does.
I just popped for that.